Thank you so much for joining in. For those of you who have signed up for this webinar, and those who will be watching it on the replay, much appreciated. I think this is a great topic. I've got to give kudos to Underdog Crypto for really, I say, the brainchild around this, putting this together in conjunction with his public service loan forgiveness webinar series. So I think this is a great tie-in. If you haven't had a chance to join in on his webinar, make sure you do that. You can find links and videos to it on my page. It's very informative and it's very helpful. So as we get started, this is going to be a really a high level, hopefully interactive. If you have questions, put them in the comments, but really wanted to just touch on how you can really set up a nonprofit. And I wanted to go over some of the tie-ins and some of the things to think about, because when we hear about a nonprofit, we think about certain things, but there's some other areas that we may not have thought about with a nonprofit or setting it up. So first thing I want to do, introduce myself. I'm Akpan. I am a professor. I'm actually an accounting professor, and here to share a little information with you on this. If you really like this content, you'd like to see more webinars or more informative, interactive content like this, please, well, you see on the screen, you've got my email scrolling across. Leave something in the comments, send me a message. I'd really appreciate that feedback. If there's some things you want to talk about, maybe you're watching this on the replay, maybe you don't have a question now. I know this happens to me quite a bit. I may not have a question right away, but then later on, there may be something that crosses my mind. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help and discuss as much as I'm able to on this topic or any other accounting or business related topics. So what I want to go through is really it's straightforward in the sense of forming a non-for-profit, forming a non-profit or 501c3, that you can break it down really to, I say six steps, but I'm going to circle back before to step 0. But I say step 1 is to form some type of business, set up your nonprofit. More commonly, most people will incorporate. You don't have to or have a corporation to have a non-for-profit. Most people will. The second is, because you're incorporating, you'll have a board of directors. And if you're incorporating, you'll have articles of incorporation. So that's the third piece. The other, you'll have to have some type of bylaws. Now, when you're a corporation, you're doing that at the state level. So really everything starts at the state level, and every state is different. So this is part of the challenge with this. So every state is different. So you want to check what you need to do in your particular state. I'm in North Carolina. I know some of you are in Illinois. Some of you could be in Georgia. But typically when you're forming your corporation and you would like this to be a nonprofit, you'll have to give some indication of that it's going to be a nonprofit corporation. So after you do that, then you will, I said the bylaws, so the rules and regulations, your bylaws, then you'll file for federal tax exempt status. So the 501c3 is actually federal tax exempt status. And after receiving your determination letter, after receiving your status federally, then you will report that to your state. Many states, so again, this is important to check and see how things work in your particular state, because many states, if you receive approval federally, many states will they'll automatically approve you on the state level, but you still may have to do some filings twice every 2 years, every 3 years to confirm your status federally. So you want to check on that. Now, I said I was going to go backwards. So before I do that, many people, some people like to do this on their own. Some people like to use different services to set up a 501c3. So some people may want to use something called LegalZoom, which is very popular. Other people may say, well, you know what, I want to do this myself. I'll throw another option out there that I would recommend, particularly if you're setting this up, because a lot of this is a bulk of this has to deal with tax law, can tie into your personal tax. So you're setting up a corporation, even though it's a nonprofit, it is still a corporation, a business. You're setting this up. So I would always recommend establishing a relationship with an accountant, preferably a CPA, someone who specializes in nonprofit accounting. Why? Particularly if you're going to, well, I'll say it this way: you're going to have to do some type of financial filing. So you want to make sure that you have all your books and everything in order, your reports. You may have to do budgets. So you want to make sure that you have really a team or tied together and things set up as efficiently as possible. The LegalZoom portion, in my opinion, is great to kind of get things together. But moving forward, you're going to have to have some type of accounting, and you have to be able to put together reports. So it's good to have someone in play, in contact, a system to help you moving forward with your reporting, because you'll have to file some reports. Now, for me to go and circle back to zero, so we went over, it's really, what is it, six steps, I'd say, to setting up a nonprofit. However, there's different types of nonprofits. The most common form of nonprofit is what is known as a public charity. In a public charity, these are your religious organizations, educational organizations. These are things that are formed for the public good, right? And as far as money, so raising money, you're getting funds from all types from the public, from different sources. So you're asking for donations primarily. So that's a public charity, and that's primarily what we see. And many people look to set up. So examples of that could be an art group, amateur sports teams, or animal welfare organizations that are set up. Now, there's a caveat, and this is why it's important to why I went to the zero. to set up a nonprofit, it does not have to be a corporation. It could be a trust. It can be a corporation, of course, or what is known as an unincorporated business organization. And there's rules around that as well. The unincorporated business organization, that could be a group of neighbors getting together, raising money to, buy certain books for their library, for their neighborhood library, or to put something in a park nearby, in their area. There's certain limitations on how much money can be raised before you would have to file as a 501c3. So this is important. So why did I say I was going to go back to zero? The zero part is you need to know what it is you're looking to do, right? What is it? Why am I looking to? What is my why? I think that's the better question. What is my why? So you have to think, am I going to raise money? Am I going to be asking for donations? Do I need to incorporate? So you need to think through those things and to understand what you're looking to do and what your why is. So there's public charity. There's also what's called a private foundation. And this is where you're not receiving money public. You're receiving money from either family or community groups or from businesses. So this is a private foundation that is supporting, so it's doing public good, but the money's not coming from the general public through donations. Examples of this, if you think about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right? It's a private foundation, it's not-for-profit, or the Ford Foundation. So you may think, well, you know what? I have some money. Maybe a private foundation is a better option than a public charity. So remember, the two are different. Public charity, you're receiving donations from the general public and grant. So you can apply for grants and use that for public money. That may be a great option. Another great option for you may be a private foundation. Another one is we're getting complicated, but it's a cross between the two, called a private operating foundation. So getting into some really complicated things, but I wanted to mention that. So getting it together, understanding really what it is that you're looking to do and what you want to do, I think is the important piece to this. Most nonprofits are what they call public charities and receive donations. So I would think through what you want to do, how you want to set it up, and think about establishing that relationship with an accountant, understanding what the laws that govern nonprofits are in your state. So understanding the filing requirements in the state and federally, because they tie in and it can vary state to state. The other thing is, if looking on the federal level, I would make sure to take a look. There's a publication, the IRS has publication 557, which details on the application process, different types of nonprofit businesses, and particularly the ones that fall under 501c3. There's 29 different categories federally, so with the IRS. So it's 501c1, 501c2 of different organizations that can be considered nonprofit, but typically we're talking about this 501c3 status and the organizations that fall under this public charity. So I think that this is something very good if you'd like to set up. And I know particularly tying this in with what we were talking about, especially Underdog was talking about with the student loan forgiveness and a nonprofit, it's important to make sure that if you're setting this up for your family, okay, where does this fall at? What does this fall under? Is this a literacy, or what am I doing? What is my why to guide you into setting up a non-for-profit and getting it together, and whether or not it should be a corporation, and really understanding what the filing requirements, the meeting requirements, the board requirements are for having the non-for-profit to execute your vision and what you'd like to do. And I emphasize that because many times when I talk to individuals who are setting up nonprofits or businesses, they are very passionate, they're very knowledgeable about what it is that they're looking to do and what they would like to add value to society in general. However, the roadblock, and many times there's a lot of backtracking as far as setting up the structures, as far as the correct organizational entities, the boards, the accounting piece, the reporting, all of those things that will help you to execute that vision. So a lot of that may slow you down in your movement if you don't have that all tied in. So I think it's very important to take a step back, also to understand how this works, and it's tax code and why all of this is set up and how it functions and how it will impact you. The other thing that I'm very strong about is understanding and learning the language of what you're doing. And what I mean by that is, do you need to be an accountant or expert at it? No. But when you're meeting, but if you go to LegalZoom or if you go to an accountant, before you log in and you start clicking and going through it, you should have the basic fundamental knowledge and understand what it is you're getting into and where you want to go. So it's not a matter of someone managing you. So if you go to an account, if you go to LegalZoom, they're not managing you and telling you what to do. You know what to do, and they're advising you, hey, maybe you can add this, or that's a great idea. Have you thought about this? So you've already got a pretty much a clear path on where you want to go and what needs to be done. I think that's very important to arm yourself with that information and knowledge. You don't have to be the expert on it, but you should know the basics before you pick up the phone, before you turn on the computer, before you start having that discussion. And importantly, understand the basics of how it ties into your particular business, your particular situation and where you are, and how this will impact and either help you or what you need to do and have set up to move forward. Because that can be challenging. And I say this because I mentor individuals. I think it's important to say that I mentor, I do not consult. And there's a big difference. Mentoring means I'll talk to you and give you a general idea and point you in the right direction. Consulting means I'm going to do the work for you, right? You're going to pay me and I'm going to do the work for you. And I think finding a mentor, getting the information, understanding what is going on is important, because it will save you a lot of money in what they call trial and error. And it's important to so you're not backtracking, because every time you got to backtrack and oh, I need to go and set this up. Oh, I should have set this up, or I should have put these things together. That's costing you time, money, and you're not moving forward with your vision. So take that to heart. I hope this helps you, gives you something to think about. The non-for-profit, it is not it is something great to do. It does take more time per se than setting up a corporation, particularly if you're going for that 501c3 status, because you got to file that paperwork and you have to get back a determination letter. So there's things that have to be put in place before you can move forward and start. If you're going the public charity route to collect donations and money, and I think it's important to understand that and how that will tie in with you. But it can be very rewarding and fulfilling, because you know, by putting together this, you're actually, all of this is designed to encourage people to do that, to add to the public good, to help support our fellow country, our community, right? So I think that's a really, it's noble, and I applaud everyone who's interested in it. We're almost at time. Thank you for those of you who are tuned in. If you have any questions, if you want me to, talk to you, like I said, I'll mentor, I'll point you in the right direction the best I can. You can reach out to me at info@mfonakpan.com. So you can email me, and I'd be happy to have a conversation. I mean, if you want to do a Zoom session, we can, or if you just have a question you'd like to email to me, I'm happy to answer that. The other thing is, make sure that you take time and sign up for Underdog Research, Underdog Crypto. He's putting together an amazing webinar on the public service loan forgiveness program, and he's running these all the way into October. So I think it's important, again, getting that information. So just like you came here to get some information, get that information, get that knowledge, understand how things work, but more importantly, understand how that can impact your situation, how it can impact you. And it may not even apply to you at all. However, you may have a brother, a sister, a cousin, someone that can benefit from that information. So I think that's very important. Appreciate you. I'm about to sign out, but thank you, for tuning in. Make sure you're on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and to like, and love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much.